Good morning, good evening, wherever you are, everyone. This is Jared Prosser for Vendetta Sports Media. I'm here with Jackson Law. We're continuing our NBA preseason previews. Today, we have Jackson's favorite team, the Memphis Grizzlies. So, Jackson, first of all, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing good. That's role reversal day for the two of us. The last time we met to do these, I was the host and you were giving your previews. Now you're the host. How's it feel to be in the host seat today? Is this your first time hosting anything for Vendetta?
For Vendetta, yes, but I host the broadcast for NBL One over here, so I've done it before. Just tend to do it live, and people can't see my face, which is probably a relief for those people who have to watch. So today we're going to look at the Grizz. Really, really positive season for them last time out, Jackson. Why don't you give us a little bit of a recap on how they went last time around?
Yeah, so the Grizzlies blew expectations out of the water last season, relatively speaking, to where a lot of people had them finishing, which was outside of the top 10, which as long as you were, in the 10th or 8th spot, you got the play-in. But they got into the play-in, won both play-in games, had a 38-34 record. That was good enough to finish 8th in the West. So if it was a regular season and not just like with the play-in, they actually would have made the playoffs outright. But they had to go to the play-in because of the new format, and they successfully won 2 games. They beat the San Antonio Spurs and the Golden State Warriors and had the honor to face the Utah Jazz in the first round, and they stole the first game. And then it was over from there. Although it was fun to go watch. I got to go watch Game 3 in Memphis, so that was a lot of fun. It was a great atmosphere, and even though they lost, and I lost my voice because I was screaming so loud. But as far as statistics go, defensively they were a top 10 team in the league. They were first in steals. Overall defensive rating, when you take in all other defensive ratings, if you just a net defensive rating, top 10 in the league. Offensively, they were first, or at least in the top 5, finishing the season with what's it called? Fast break points. That's right, fast break points. But their Achilles heel was they were in the bottom part of the league in 3-pointers made and 3-pointers attempt, which is the same old story for the same old Grizzlies. Even back in the grit and grind era, 3-pointers were tough to come by. And that's what, even with a solid defensive team and a good offense, you can't survive or make it to the next level if you're not in the top half of the league in attempts and makes.
No, absolutely. But having said that, as you mentioned, Jackson, this was not a season where Memphis was supposed to make the playoffs. And as you mentioned, it wasn't play-in, it was play-off that they made. So overall, it can't be anything other than a positive season. But looking ahead, who have they brought in? Who have they let go? What's their roster look like this time around?
Yeah, so it's been a busy off season for Kleeman and the Grizzlies front office. It started out with a massive trade that involved sending Jonas Valanciunas to the New Orleans Pelicans, and in return they got Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe, and I think some pick compensation as well to take on Adams's large contract. Now Bledsoe, I never figured was a part of the long-term deal, so they actually ended up shipping Bledsoe off to the Clippers, and then they get in return some compensation along with Pat Bev, but then they ship Pat Bev to Minnesota for Jarrett Culver. So there's been a lot of rotating in and out of players that have been a Grizzly this off season. But Steven Adams kind of being the big one that they brought in. They're kind of hoping that he can fulfill the same role that Valanciunas did, but to a lesser degree. Valanciunas was never a part of the long-term identity of this team. The long-term identity of this team is solely focused on Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. And Valanciunas was so vital to the offense that it was kind of hard to see, especially Jaren, grow as an offensive player and giving him room to operate in the paint and score. He really played more on the outside and then driving into the paint to try and get his points that way. They also kind of surprised everyone in the draft by drafting Zaire Williams. That was not where they were picking at. That was not necessarily where a lot of people had Zaire going. But I think it's a high risk, high reward type of pick, because if he does pan out, then he's the wing scorer that Memphis has been searching 15 years for.
Rudy Gay left town.
Yeah, well, even when Rudy Gay was in town, I mean, he was good, but he was never that guy that helped them get over the hump. So maybe Zaire can turn into that. He has the potential to do so. He showed some promise as the summer league was going on, and I know that's summer league. But a great thing is the team is willing to take their time with Zaire. They talked a lot about. They've been scouting Zaire since he was in high school. That's how long this front office has wanted this guy. So he's their guy. So they're going to take their time with him. And he's in a position, believe it or not, where he's on a rebuilding team where he can take his time and grow into his role, because there are other players on this team that are going to take the scoring bulk.
Now, there are, as you mentioned, a lot of moving pieces. One of those, there's even, the return of Jaren Jackson. Out of all of these pieces, now that the dust has settled, who is the key player for Memphis this season?
100% it's Ja Morant. It's not necessarily because he is now really turning into the leader of the team. It's the expectations that are being put on him by people outside of Memphis. Sports Illustrated had him in the top 30 of NBA players, all NBA players, and this is his third year in the league.
It may be a little premature for me, but
and then of course his GM is hyping him up and saying that he's going to be an all-star this year. He has a lot of pressure on his shoulders, but the thing is, Ja Morant really embraces the pressure. He embraces everything that comes with being the face of a franchise. He has that type of dog personality where he's going to take it and run with it. Now, there is a lot more that you need to see from him. You hope to see that he gets a consistent jump shot. Even Allen Iverson is gone on record, one of the top point guards ever to play the game, talking about how Ja Morant, if he gets a jump shot, how scary that's going to be for the rest of the league because of how explosive he is, how acrobatic he is around the rim, how crafty he is at finding his teammates.
Yeah, if you have to attack if you have to close out on Ja, and he's able to attack a closeout, that opens up so much for him.
Exactly. And the success of this season really depends on if Ja can take the all-star leap that not just what people in Memphis want to see, but what everyone else around the league and outside of the Grizzlies fandom, organization, the expectations that they're putting on him.
So, take Ja out of it for a moment. Who is the X factor? Who is that swing player? The guy that could push Memphis over the top, be that Robin to Ja's Batman, or if they don't perform, drag the team back a little bit?
It's got to be Jaren Jackson Jr., the second cornerstone building block of this franchise. And it's not necessarily his play, it's his health. Ever since he has come into the league, he has had health troubles, and there are some Grizz fans that are ready to give up on Jaren. I'm obviously not, and I'm going to speak with possessive pronouns here because I am a Grizz fan. Okay, so people can get over that. I won't be with anyone else, but I will with this. And the reason why is when fully healthy and into the NBA groove, Jaren Jackson Jr. is an unstoppable force. He is 7 feet tall, but with handles that can beat almost any big man off the dribble. This is a guy that in his rookie season went one-on-one with LeBron James and hit a game-winning shot in the face of LeBron James. He went toe-to-toe with Giannis, a two-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and, well, he wasn't a Finals MVP at that point, but is now a Finals MVP. Went toe-to-toe with him. Giannis was guarding Jaren, and Jaren dropped 43 points in a game. That's his career high.
Was that the game where he hit all those threes?
Yes, he had an incredible amount of threes, and he also has the ugliest jump shot I've seen since Sean Marion. But like Sean Marion, somehow it goes in. It makes absolutely no sense, but it works for him, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know.
Yeah, as a coach, there's a lot of things I want to pick out of that jump shot, but as you said, it's you don't want to coach a guy out of making shots, no matter how ugly they look.
Yeah, and you know, his health. If he can stay healthy, he's gotten better. His foul trouble has gotten a little better as time has gone on, which is a positive sign.
I'm really interested to see how that goes, Jackson. Coming off a knee injury, he might not have the same lateral movement. He certainly won't have the same conditioning and match fitness, match awareness to begin with. Whether he is able to continue that downward trend of fouls per 36, or whether they start to creep back up again as he starts to reach, if he doesn't quite have the lateral mobility. I'm really interested to see that, because I think, well, that'll obviously take him off the court if he gets in foul trouble and make him less, I suppose, decisive on defense. If he can keep that trend going, he'll get a lot more minutes. He'll be a lot more effective at both ends of the floor. I think that really is a small thing, but I think it's a key thing for how Jackson progresses this season.
I agree. And what is working in his favor, though, is that he did get to come back towards the end of the season. There was a couple games where he found his groove, but he obviously wasn't 100%, especially in the playoff series with the Jazz. Also, I think he should, as much as I want him to play the 5, because Jaren, with his athleticism and his ability to stretch the floor, would be an amazing person to play at the 5. You just can't when someone like Rudy Gobert is the starting 5 on the opposing team, because Gobert abused the heck out of Jaren down low, rebounding in the post. Jaren is tall and he has the defensive mindset, but he's still kind of got a bit of a skinny frame for playing against some of the bigger 5s in the league. When Valanciunas would come back in and guard Gobert, he made it a bit more difficult for Gobert. He made Gobert have to work for everything, for every rebound and, you know, everything down low that he was getting. But
yeah, there's not a lot of base strength there. It'll be interesting to see whether his rehab includes building up that
and
strength.
The revelation of Dillon Brooks as a scorer, you know, a consistent high volume scorer, takes a lot of the pressure off of Jaren early on.
Now, what's something that you're looking for, Jackson? What do you want to see from these Grizzlies?
I want to see. I mean, it's the same thing that Grizz fans have always wanted to see. I want consistent 3-point shooting. That's the thing that's the thing I need to see. There'll be games where they'll shoot a high volume, but right now Desmond Bane is the only guy on this team that can consistently hit threes. Now, Dillon Brooks can hit threes, and a surprising stat that I did find that I didn't bring up earlier: Dillon Brooks and Desmond Bane, both top 5 in the NBA on corner 3-point percentage. So that is a positive, but Desmond Bane's the only catch and shoot, knockdown 3-point shooter on this team right now.
We've gotten rid of Grayson Allen as well, who was another one of those.
Exactly. And so who's the other one? John Conchar? That's a name that 99% of people are not going to know when I say that.
Well, there's 7 minutes a game where you'll get an extra shooter. So, Jackson, let's wrap all this up. How do the Grizz go this season? How do they go in 21-22?
Vegas has their win total at 41. I'm going to bump it up a little bit and go to 43. I think they are at least an above 500 team. I think it's going to be tough because a lot of people are thinking that they're going to take a step back because of the Valanciunas trade. This is, of course, all banking on Jaren staying healthy, Ja taking the leap, Dylan Brooks being the tenacious defender that he is, which he has even mentioned that he has hinted at. Dylan Brooks has hinted at it's going to be tougher for guys to score on him because the NBA is cracking down on the terrible foul hunting that some offensive players, some top offensive players in the league do. So that'll be interesting to see. But I think they do finish above 500. I think they finish, and because the West is so tough, I think they finish in between the 8 to 10 range, and they're in the play-in once again.
Well, look, that's it's about where they were last season. So considering they were ahead of schedule last season, that wouldn't be a bad result for the Grizz, I have to say. Now that will do it for today's NBA preseason preview, a Memphis preview. So this will be on YouTube, of course. So hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, Vendetta Media. You'll find it on all of our socials. Of course, you'll find it at vendettasportsmedia.com. For Jackson Law, I'm Jared Prosser. We will see you next time.